Let's now do the interaction. How do we achieve interactivity? How do these charts, how can I make them interact? Right? So just buttons on the chart. Okay, hide. Right. So in order to achieve interactivity, we use what we call slicers. So if you go to pivot chart analyze, then you what? You set a slicer. Okay. So these slicers, these are more or less filters, right? So um, if you have let's say a salesperson, there's one slicer with salesperson, and then also let me select the month date. Okay, there are two slicers there, right? So move it there. That's one of the slicers. The other slicer, move it here. Okay. So what we can do, columns, let me put, for this slicer, let me put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let me put 6 columns. Okay. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So on the dates, I can also give it, let's say, 6. That's columns. So I give it 6 columns. Let me, okay, do that, right? So, um, so what will happen is, if I filter this data, or I use the salesperson, let's say I want to find the sales per fruit by Alice, and also by month, and also region, and also uh, yeah, by month, by region, and also yes, by that salesperson, and also maybe you filter by month. So what I do is I'll go to this slicer. You see this slicer. So what will happen is this slicer will link all the pivot tables here. I have how many one? Pivot tables? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 pivot tables. So the slicer will link all the 4 pivot tables. So let's link. So how do you link it? You go to the report connection. For each slicer, you go to the report connections, and then what you do is there's pivot table 3. Okay, by default, it shows the current pivot table the slicer is using. Okay, so it is pivot table 4. So you just link pivot table 3, pivot table 5, and then pivot table what? 6. So we have how many? 4 pivot tables. Okay, you do that. Okay, and then for this slicer again, okay, you also you link, you link, right? And then you do what? Okay. So let's say I want for all these charts, I want data for August. So you just select August there. Okay. You see what is happening? Okay. You see what has happened to the other charts. Here it has disappeared altogether. Or rather, this is December. Okay. So there was no total sales. Okay. There was no sales um in the okay, this is the performance in the month of December, right? So if you go to November, You see? So this is what will happen. If you go to August, this is what will happen. Let me clear the month. Let's say I want data for Bob. Okay. So for all these charts, you can select data for Bob. So you can just select here, Bob. Okay. So what has happened is the chart which is closely related to to the slicer will disappear. The values will disappear there altogether, right? So total sales per unit. So that's how Bob performed. For pineapples, for oranges, mangoes, grapes, banana, apple, and then total sales by month. That's how it performed. Okay, and also total sales by region. This is how it worked, right? So let me also select Fiona. Let's see what happens to Fiona. Okay, so this is what it means when we say interactive dashboards. You interact with the dashboard. You tell it what to do, and then it responds to what you want. Okay, so this is the basics. Okay, this is the basics of what of dashboards creation, right? So let's go to the other aspect of dashboards, right? So the other aspect is uh, uh, the dynamic aspect. Okay, so what we mean by dynamic aspect is that if you go to the data set here, if I change control down, if I change this data, um, if I change this data, what will happen to our dashboard? It also have to what? To change. So let's do what I can do here is okay. So here's what I'll do. I'll copy this data. I'll copy it and paste it somewhere. Okay, copy it and paste it here. So what I'll do is I'll do control find, replace wherever there is 2023. I put what? 2024. So look what happened, what will happen to these dates. Okay, instead of 2023, I'll put what? 2024. So just to replace all. So all done. We have made 1000 replacements, right? So having changed this date, um, what I'll then do, I'll copy it, Control C, oh sorry, um, then Control Shift, page down, I'll go to the bottom, copy it, and then I'll go to the data set here at the bottom. Okay, you see this here shows the end of your pivot of our table. Okay, so I'll paste it here. See, Control. So just look at what happens to this one. This one will shift, the end here will shift to the end of what? Of our new data. Okay, so that blue thing you saw has disappeared. And if you go down, it has what? It has dynamically updated to the end of our data set. Initially, we had 1000 rows, but now we have 2001 rows. Okay, so um, what I'll then do is since we have updated this data set, what will happen is the these charts here will also what? They will also change. So how will they change? So these ones will change if I go to the pivot tables and do it and refresh. So I just do it. Right click, refresh. You see the data has changed. And also for this one, I think it has also automatically changed. Where okay, refresh. Yeah, I think all the data has what? Has refreshed. This one again, yeah, it has refreshed. So let's go to the dashboard. Okay, you see that the figures have what? Have automatically what? They have automatically changed. Okay, so um just a minute. Okay, so that's what we mean when we say what? Um, dynamic dashboards. We update um, as the data changes, so will our reports change. Okay. I think one thing I wanted to see was the because here the if you go to the pivot the data set, okay, the data set, I was expecting to see the change. Okay, the change in the okay, let's try. Let me put data labels. So that I don't think it looks nice. Okay, I was expecting to see the years because we have 2 years here. The data set we have 2023, and there at the bottom we have 2024. So I was expecting to see the change in the what? In the data. Okay, in the dates as well. Okay, so let's see if I can do something under the okay, here. Let's see what happens. Let's go to pivot table analyze. Uh, let's go to field list and then see. Okay. Uh-huh. So here the pivot table says, what are we saying now? Okay, just a minute. So under date, what do we have under date? Months, date. Okay, let's see what happens if I do that. Okay, June 30, June. Okay. Okay. So the it is not updating the way I wanted because here the data set the we have changed the years. Okay, so I'll I'll look at it later. But what I wanted to show you is that is the basic or the basic principle of these dashboards. Okay, one. It has to be your dashboard has to be a one pager. It cannot be the way I've put them. You can put it the way you want. You can design these charts the way you want. Number two, interaction. Okay, you have to interact with the data. Okay, these have to change. Okay, okay, these have to change whenever you do your filters there. You do your here for instance data for Diana in April. That's what will happen for Ethan in May. So that's your data there, right? So that's interactivity. For the dynamic, okay, the charts have changed the changes have been reflected. The change in the data set. Your data set should always be in a table, and that change in the data set should be reflected in the what? In the pivot charts, or rather in the dashboard charts, as well as what? In the pivot tables. If you just do the refresh button there. So for the refresh, there's a new uh, under pivot tables, there's a new refresh button. Okay. There's a new auto refresh button for the pivot tables. So it is yet to be shared by Microsoft to us. So I think it will be, but for others, maybe I don't know. With others, it has been shared already, but for me, I'm here to see the auto refresh. So you don't have to right click and do your refresh. It will automatically refresh once you add the data in your what? In your data set, right? So what are the steps? What are the steps for the dashboards? Okay. Number one, you start with your I started with the definition of what? Of a dashboard. Number two, you need to have what? A data set. Number three, you need to have what? Your pivot tables. Okay. Then number four, you create your what? Your dashboard. With that, let me stop there and thank you for your time. Bye bye.